So since I'm doing the Kung Fu Panda movies now for movie reviews, I'd figure I'd take a look at Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness for my next cartoon review. I don't like it as much as the movies, but it's still a decent show. It had a rough start in season 1. I've watched season 1, 2, and 3. So pretty much caught up to speed on this, but I have to say season 2 was the best out of the seasons 1 through 3. But it started out weak, but when it got to like third, fourth episode, it started getting really strong. The writing was getting better. The acting was starting to develop. And they did add in a lot of characters because you need more villains. You need villains to have a good cartoon show, really. Or antagonists. You need an antagonist to have a good cartoon show. But they added all the villains that they've added there, that they created for the show, are always funny in some way. Really, the Croc Bandits are probably the most depressing villains in cartoon history. There's just no way you can take them seriously. As far as the episodes go, my favorites would have to be when Poe teams up with a member of the Furious Five. Like when it's centered on Poe and a member of the Furious Five, and sort of like shows the development of their relationship. And I've always thought of Legends of Awesomeness as taking place in between Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2. I don't know if it's actually linked up canon-wise with the movies, or if this is just some separate DreamWorks project that won't tie into the movies ever, because I've watched 1 through 3, obviously, the movies, and I've never really seen much of a connection. Maybe I'm missing something, but there doesn't seem to be a connection between the movies and the Legends of Awesomeness. So honestly, the one thing I didn't like about the show, I don't like about Legends of Awesomeness, is Shifu's, like, Poe is everything kind of attitude that sort of happened toward the end of season 2, and you could see it building up, earlier on in season 2 and towards the latter half of season 1, but I didn't like how he's like worshipped Poe all of a sudden and sees Poe as this like son-like figure. And it's like, I know it's kind of like in the movies there's a close relationship between Shifu and Poe, but not so much that it pushes the Furious Five to the side. And there's even a whole episode that deals with the topic of how the Furious Five are being pushed aside and Poe is being favored more than them, and really they're pretty much just forgotten by Shifu. I didn't really like that. I don't really like that in the show, because in the movies there's no actual, it's not actually up in your face favoritism, you know. But you can still see how the relationship between the Furious Five and Shifu is there, and it's still strong, and Poe hasn't interfered with that. Relationship with the villains in the show is well done, I think, but music, it can be a little hit and miss sometimes. Like, it's not anything grand and great like it is in the movies. It's still good, but it does hit and miss often. As far as TV shows, though, that come off of like a movie franchise, it's not bad. I mean, they could have just put it on TV just to cash in on the fan base, and not put any effort into it. There is some clear effort put into it, though it's not the greatest show on Nickelodeon, obviously, or in Nickelodeon history. It's still probably one of their better shows of this era. It's like, so my overall thoughts. They do make Poe a little too stupid in this. In some episodes where it's like, yeah, but he's not an idiot. He's not like super pathetic anymore, and he gets beat sometimes by enemies that it's like, what, really? Like, he beat the Dragon Warrior. He beat Poe. That's ridiculous. But so they do tend to do moments, and then sometimes like Poe's like so strong and powerful he can take on the Furious Five and Shifu at the same time without even trying, and beat them to a pulp without even trying. And it's like, have you been watching the same movies? He still can't beat Tigress. In the second movie, he couldn't beat Tigress because Tigress pretty much owns him in the prison scene when she's like, "You're staying here," and all that. But it's like, the show, he's suddenly like all powerful, godlike, and it's like, no, it's like, that's stupid. And yeah, and then as I just said, there are moments where he's like extremely pathetic, and it's like, probably the best character interactions, though, to be honest, are between him and Tigress, or between Poe and Tigress, and Poe and Ping are the best character interactions in the show. Shifu still has like that the cold indifference in the beginning, but season 3 makes Shifu's character a joke, basically. There are some moments when he can be strict and all that with Poe, but then sometimes though, and the latter half of season 2 does it too, where it's just like he suddenly all smiles and Poe's the greatest and all that. And it's like, that really threw me off a little. Other than episodes that do that, all those things, there is very good moments in the show, especially the Enter the Dragon one, where the demon that Oogway sealed away into the body of the pig comes out and all that, and it's like out of the body of the pig and rises back to what it was. That, I really liked that. It was really the first time I felt like the show was actually remembering that there are amazing movies involved with the Kung Fu Panda name, and actually, yeah, it was at that moment I felt that Legends of Awesomeness finally reached the marker that is the movies. Like, it's finally got, it was all worthwhile. I was like, it's finally worth something. Not that the episodes before that were bad, but up until that point, they all were your generic TV show, cartoon show episodes. Like, your character learns a lesson, and he beats the bad guy without any effort and stuff like that, or he has to do blah blah blah. And it's like, and this one, it does that, but it does it in a more interesting way. Poe's forgotten what he used to be, really. He forgot that he didn't need the fame, the action figures, recognition, and all that to be the Dragon Wars. He's lost sight of himself in Enter the Dragon, and it was the first time I felt like I was watching the Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness movie, basically. Anyways, I'd give the show, normally I don't like halves, but I'll give it a 3.5. It's just barely below 4, and I don't know. If they start making more episodes for it, which I hope they do, because they've finally gotten to where they've sort of like mastered this creating story arcs and stuff. The crew behind the show, the cartoon, but it gives us 3.5 thumbs up. So, anyways, those are my thoughts on Legends of Awesomeness. Thanks for watching.